we want to make sure that we have this available for
migration tools. Anyway, let's just stick. We've got some good migration patterns, and it's basically an ease and low risk way to move data up into the cloud. That's really what migration means to me. And as I said, I was surprised that people weren't using it as a nice cheeky way to do upgrades as well.
And Jason, Mr. Reinhardt, we also had the data replication real-time one, and we were talking about that last time. What's your take on that then?
Yeah, well, so just to follow on from Jason's point, I guess, the good thing for Oracle and for customers is we've got a lot of different ways of moving data from a source to a target. So it depends on the requirements. If you can have downtime, then you can maybe use data pump. If you're doing an upgrade, you can maybe use data pump. If you just wanted to move the same version, you could use active, like a data guard. If you had literally a zero time requirement, because there is time to copy data around, then you could overlay Golden Gate with that. So we've got a lot of approaches. The cloud is obviously just a different target. There are a lot of benefits of the cloud. Like the cloud is not just a virtual machine, but as far as moving a database, it sort of is just another target, and then you get the benefits. The thing I would highlight is that through a lot of the automation that we are building within the cloud target environment, we've actually wrapped a lot of these techniques and simplified the skills and the approaches to do it. So what used to be complicated 5 years ago is now a lot simpler. And an example of that would be a zero downtime migration tool, which sort of wraps a lot of these different techniques based on your different requirements. So I definitely encourage all the people on the line to look that up, and we can include that in a link. That to me is an encapsulation of the simplification of a lot of these techniques based on your different requirements. And then once you get onto the cloud, then I think there's a lot of stuff that you can do thereafter.
I think the other thing we've seen also is in the last few months, we've expanded the ease of use there, because we've now given you the ability to have actually reference external databases in our cloud, so you can actually do that migration job from our console, and you can also set up the Golden Gate from the console. You can visualize and connect to internal databases and the external databases, and make that whole process a lot easier.
Yeah, so that's probably the awareness that people don't necessarily have. So there's probably a lot of technical people on here who know about the techniques, but they're a lot simpler to use and consume. And that's the point of the cloud to a certain degree, make this technology a lot easier to consume.
I've got to jump in. I'm going to jump in because I've got to. So it's been a long time
you
since
and your elephant in the room, Stuart.
No.
You should call you Stuart elephant in the room, Coggins.
Well, I'll bring up an elephant in a minute, but that's going to be really unpleasant.
In your elephants.
Elephants later. I'm thinking of an elephant, don't you worry. Actually, there is an elephant in the room, funnily enough. It's been a long time since I did a database migration. I obviously used to be a customer. I say obviously, not everyone knows that. But a lot's changed since I was a customer. We've got colour TV, and wheels are now round since I was doing this a few years ago. My question to you guys though is that line that said, well, firstly the bit that says server to server, I'm not quite sure what else there is, server to maybe a bowl of chips, but the other piece there that scared me was the the no downtime. In my day, no downtime just meant crazy expensive. So you've just reeled off a list of tools. Automation clearly brings down cost, but
absolutely,
what are the options there? I mean, is it as stupidly as expensive as it once was?
No,
well,
no, not at
it's
all
relative. Like no downtime is always relative in my view, and it's not actually a database technology challenge to a certain degree. So like when we we move things, or we have even in a rack environment, you have a node goes down, there's still a little period of what we call brownout, but that's sort of seconds while it moves things around. When you're moving an application, you're moving it from one location to another, there's typically going to be a point where you have to reconfigure and repoint your application workloads. So there will be some period, but from the database perspective, if you've moved, like in my background, 5 or 6 years ago, I worked at a bank, and we moved large banking transactional payment systems onto engineered systems, Exadatas. We didn't have, days to do that, because, people like to get paid. They like to pay for things. So we use, techniques to move the data in bulk, and then Golden Gate to keep things in sync. And then you do the little switch over at the end. So it is relative to how quickly an application can point from point A to point B. But with a combination of one technique and the real-time replication, you can get it down to definitely under a minute.
There's always going to be that little bit of brownout, but it is smaller.
Hey,
and it's not overly complicated to do. That's the thing. Like Jason was saying, a Golden Gate can be done from a console, point to a target. So that's really the main technique for that, don't you think, Jason?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It is. Yeah. And look, I just want to touch on something I said at the start, and I've just seen the question that's come through there about real application testing. The nice thing is, with the way that we purchase the database licenses in the cloud, and that's whether it's DVCS, XCS, or autonomous, we actually provide the real application testing as part of the package. Now, so the only part you actually have to license, without going into too much licensing conversation, is you just need a 1-year term license for your on-premise to capture that workload. And then when you do the migration, you can then replay that to your newly migrated database, and that license comes with the service. So it isn't as expensive as our friend Daniel there is thinking it was, or once was. But it does give you that sort of satisfaction, Cogs, that once you've moved it, that you can test your workload and that things are, not costing the earth to actually migrate, basically.
Hey, Grogan, I wouldn't mind you expanding a little bit more, because you've played with the new Golden Gate cloud service in terms of not played, but actually explored what that looked like, and did that within the tenancy. What's been your experience?
Amazingly easy. I mean, I've been a Golden Gate user for many years. I mean, even before I think it was owned by Oracle, and but over the last few years, where it's moved into the cloud and we've got our own images to make it even easier to use, it was lovely, and the microservices version was good too. But we've now come out with a service called Oracle Golden Gate Service, and we thought about how we can make that easy to use and consume. So not only does it set up the service to allow you to do the extraction of the data from a source database and replicate it to one or many other databases, and not all Oracle, it also, we've made it easy, if the databases are created actually in our cloud, to actually register those and then pass that information into Golden Gate to make it really easy to get up and running. So I had a database in Melbourne region and our Sydney region, and in less than sort of 20-30 minutes, I had it replicating between the two. Really simple to do. There's a lot more to it, obviously, and there is a lot more parameters that you could delve into to do certain things with Golden Gate, but to actually just get up and running and replicate a schema from A to B, or to A, B, and C, like I did, very straightforward with any of our database services.
Rogues, as a scale from 1 to 10, just as because I'm not a database guy, but you keep saying easy, and then every time I'll stop saying I'm not a database guy. I will stop saying that. You say easy quite a lot. What's easy for you and easy for Stu? And maybe we should coin that phrase. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is the reality of the easy? Because the point and click thing is one thing, and me being able to do drag and drop. And we've always joked about, yes, you can give executives this power, but you probably wouldn't want to, but you could.
No,
these are still technical. These are not business users going to just, easily do some of this stuff. Migrating databases around is still it's still a technical activity. But then, Jace, what do you think, for a database-y type person, because it's all relative, if you don't know something, then everything's hard. So I think it is in the framing of a database.
For the simple reason, absolutely. For the simple reason that you can go into the registration side of things and you can actually click a button. It shows you all the databases that are currently created in your region, and you just say, thanks, I'll have that one, please. And you just go and all you have to do is unlock the Golden Gate admin user on that database and put the password in on this one screen, and it's registered that database. And then once you run the job that builds the Golden Gate service, those databases that you've registered are all instantly available inside there. So it takes a lot of that mucking around out of it, and it's only a little bit more difficult. So, but it's a level 5 or 6, I suppose. You need to have some idea of what's going on and what a connect string is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's not for the base.
If then, as part of that process, I wanted to do what Daniel's highlighting there about how do I do the cheeky upgrade you know, from 12 to 19. How much more complexity does that add in? And you know, is it just add an option to say, well, my target is now 19 and my source is 12?
Well, that's why I was just going to raise that point, actually, Stu. So we've sort of gone into a Golden Gate conversation around replication. Golden Gate is a logical replication. So you can actually go from version to version. If you're just looking to replicate the same version of a database, you can do that with DataGuard, which is even simpler to do. So once again, it comes down to, and a lot of the panelists weren't talking about an upgrade. So therefore, our conversation around Golden Gate is more around how you do something replication to do an upgrade or a change on the target, because it's logical replication. So that's probably the use case where you are looking to not just re-platform, but re-platform and upgrade with minimal downtime. So
certainly, because you're just using a connect string between the databases and between Golden Gate, yes, they don't have to be the same version. Typically, obviously, you know, DataGuard to DataGuard would be. But, you know, but when I mentioned the sort of cheeky upgrade, you know, you could obviously use RMAN or Data Pump to pull those databases out from, you know, an older version of the database to a newer version, and you've basically got the thing upgraded. That's what I call a cheeky upgrade, rather than going through the process that we would have had to do years ago, where you actually upgrade in situ and all this sort of stuff. Because you've got this ability to create and blow away databases, you know, in the cloud so easily now. It's like set up a new target and replicate to it, and there you go. You know, it just reduces down that time and risk. And as I mentioned about, you know, if you've got tools like application cluster, the application testing, and certainly when it's a database, A and B are in the cloud, they've both got the license already.
So just share a quick use case. So we were talking to some partners a month or so ago. We did an interview webcast, similar session as this, and they were talking about a customer who didn't have disaster recovery. So they had on-premises deployment, no disaster recovery. They then used DataGuard to disaster recovery to OCI, to the cloud, all good. Then they used Golden Gate to replicate to an autonomous database some of the data, and then they started doing all these analytics off the top of that. So, you know, replication is also not just an upgrade move activity. It's a open up access to the data activity. And that is where it does feed into the simplicity Jason's referring to, because, you know, once they got one-to-one, they just went, oh, why can't we replicate from here to here? And voila, they're on their way.
So any thoughts around, dev test, we're talking about how do you actually take something from prod and then help replicate that through, but there's always been challenges with that. Does Oracle Cloud or doing that within that platform actually provide anything to help with that?
Well, the one thing, speaking again of packaged licenses, the masking and tune subsetting as well as diagon tuning comes with the database cloud services now. So
in the bundles, always bring your own license, in the bundles, your enterprise edition. So we have those tools that we can help with, help you to do that now. And you know, and some of those tools are driven through EM and of course, or Enterprise Manager to give it its full name. And again, we have a very easy way of you know, enabling Enterprise Manager in the cloud with a marketplace bundle. So there's some really nice tools there that can help you there. But of course, if you have gone into the wonderful world of autonomous, or cloning off copies for development and test is click of a button, you know, and it really is a click of a button. It's that quick. But you know, if we just stay with our good old XCS or DBCS databases, you can clone what we call a PDB or a pluggable database. Really easy to make a copy for
development test. Those things are pretty straightforward and easy to do nowadays. Would you not agree, Jace?
Yeah, and that's like, I've just had a quick look at one of the Q&As, and it was saying we're talking about cloud. And, you know, what about pluggable databases as a way of doing this? And that's absolutely an option. I guess the conversation around the cloud is that a lot of the technology that has been available and that people haven't had access to in the past because of commercial licensing, environment restrictions, is now being unlocked. So it's easier for people to get access to that, because a lot of people, well, you know, you can get five pluggable databases in a container without a license from three. So you can get some, so you can do those things. Yeah. So there is
You're very generous, Jace.
Well, you know, it should be fine.
It should be.
We should open this up with a safe harbor. But yeah, like, I guess what we're talking about here is there's a lot of technology that's available, and it's getting easier to consume. All of these technologies clearly apply to being run on premises as well. From, you know, the conversations around Golden Gate, doing upgrades, this and that. I did that to banking platforms 6 or 7, 8 years ago, and you know, those techniques are still being used. So this is just the ease of it. And the thing that we would like to highlight, even if you're not a cloud user, you can get access to some of these tools for a short period of time to evaluate them, to see whether they will work, and then you can use them back on premises as well.
Well,
so
I mean,
use that as an evaluation phase as well. Yeah.
So I touched on that we now have the ability to have an object in the database, sorry, in the cloud that is referencing an external database. But in addition to that, our products that we give to our customers for free in the cloud, the data safe, which we can use for masking and tracking of, you know, sensitive data and stuff like that. We're now, for a very small license fee, giving you the ability to run that on premise as well. So we're not just thinking all about the cloud. And I always like to remind people that the Oracle database that they run on any of their platforms on premise is the same one we run in the cloud. It's not a special version that you can't run anywhere else, you know, like some of the other cloud providers' databases. This is good old Oracle database and always will be. And there's an awful lot of amazing features in there that it's the one place you need to go. All your different data types can be run inside this database, and from, you know, including blockchain and other such weird and wonderful things from 21C as well. There's some amazing things coming, but it's all in their page databases, all these different things that people go off and buy all these other databases for. You can do it all in Oracle, and that's the same one on-prem as it is in the cloud.
Yeah, I think, and a lot of people don't evaluate these things because of the on-prem licensing model. So you can evaluate them for a short period and see what they look like. So we definitely, and that sort of feeds into the free tiers and the various other things, which, you know, have a look at it, see if there's a benefit. And then if there is a benefit, then go back and help justify utilizing it for your particular use case, on-prem or cloud.
There's no doubt we're rolling out services. Obviously, it appears cloud first, right? So that seems to be where a lot of these things, database not necessarily, but some of those other tools and the automation seems to be using a lot of the power from the cloud. But obviously, as you say, that's a big differentiator. Actually, the fact that it is still the same product. It's not a different database.
Yeah, it is huge. There's no retraining there. I mean, you know, there's some. We've obviously cloudified the autonomous by allowing it to talk and use object store and stuff. But other than that, everything is the same. So you don't need to do a lot of retraining or practically no retraining really.